Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Looks like I might actually have a bug fix I want to take care of before we get off into feature stuff here. Now I've forgotten what all my lives were last week. I guess I could just look at my lives. Did I leave any of this in weird spots? Just to get a file open. There's that, and then that has... Alright, so we have a character search up. And going over here, left that layer on. Where are we making that decision? Map UI. So when we switch to the search, what did I call that thing? Actually, that'd be pre-model, wouldn't it? Is that search? No, the search mode is the sidebar mode. Search data filter. So when we are going in or out of search, that would probably just search overlay. Okay, so let's select a point. We open that up. There's open sidebar. Oh, there's open and closed. There's sidebar mode, and then we also have to, in the sidebar command, and model dot search mode, live search, search lives. Okay. Hide life, search, overlay, when in object, search mode. Yep. All right, now, I guess it'd be like search indexes. What do I call the data layer version of this? Search index. Now I have to remember which data times I was using. I must have changed it there anyway. Yep, wrong separator. Well, I know it was the small one, which I guess that'll make for some easy to load files. I forget what you netted out to, but did I actually ever run this into a real data directory? I probably didn't. Yeah, so there's that small one, and then we did a couple. Yeah, the search indexes. Search indexes from some more recent things. Process is only used for the processing infrastructure. Yep. This is going to be a 0, 0. Oh. But you've got biome stuff, which I guess I could just default that to off. Oh, map. Kai. That wasn't the entirety of that. Oh, is that base? Yeah. I'm going to be dealing with some kind of object search. Although actually at 24 is the level where we couldn't do this before. And then somewhere up here is the initial state of model. We would want open sidebar. Yeah, it was just search. Search objects. I don't know if I'm set up to do an initial search right now. We've got a lot of other stuff to set up first. All right, including copying this data over. Oh, I never actually ran log search for this. Oh well. This is incomplete here, but it could be complete there. This is probably was most recent at the time. I guess I got to run the most recent data now. Looks like we've already changed branch. I should have activity map for you, shouldn't I? So just now. Okay, so there is still a limit on how big this can get, apparently. Or I was just out too far, and it became kind of ridiculous. Okay, so that's going to be around something. Six 0 8 3 1 9 4 8 4. Okay, 21, still pretty far out. Uh, 9484. Yeah, it was around 21. All right, this is going to be chunk specific, so it's going to end up being kind of a world thing again. I'm gonna have to rewrite this again so it can swap data instead of making a layer for it. Create arc, key placement layer, create mark map log layer, the point overlays. Might be kind of similar. Did I? Oh, key placement point. Okay, so you had a layer group for the common attribution. Was I copying you from the one that used one tech graphics? Yeah. Since I'm doing sublayers for that, maybe I can separate ones that actually have graphics from ones that don't. All right, key placement, key point, key placement point. Oh, so you're based on highlighted objects, but out of key place data. And you are a derivative of an object point overlay. I might have to download these in Elm, because one of the things we might want to do is jump to point. That would mean writing a decoder in Elm, because it's encoded format, whereas I had, yeah, for now we're just going to display points. Because I think I was able to reuse an output format? Maybe I wasn't. I mean, there's still going to be bits I can reuse. No, actually this ended up being part of, what is it, part of final placements. Yeah, ID index is a new format. Oh, no, there's the index format, which I guess would be a good thing to have. We could, oh, that would be an Elm thing, because that's where we're going to display the counts. So that when we search for something, although I guess for that part of it, actually would need to be at a viable zoom. Then we can show the total number that were available. Actually, the ID indexes were simpler files too. We've got the dash to deal with. If it was, I could go one line per item, but there's actually, item IDs go to like 4,000 or something. So I don't know if that would end up saving me any space. I could do the count as a net. That would only really help for the smaller proportion of the bigger ones, and it would make this is at least, I mean, you have to decode the numbers, but at least it's somewhat readable by person. Maybe sorting by ID would have made that a little bit easier to find an item of interest. All right, so if Elm wants to fetch that to display counts here, that's something we only need to fetch once per time period. Fetch recent lives. Fetch data for, okay, for that's life data. Oh, do I need a config for this? We had an act map pattern. And I did actually have a separate thing for indexes. This is like a key search. Where I got key search, key index. Key search. And you just go to time. Does that be a model? Oh, I've not needed to do those templated URLs. Those have all been leaflets so far. Seeds and spans. I guess Elm only needs the indexes right now. Do I have a decoder? We were using implicit. I am going to have a template method to deal with these. So the template's in the config. I guess you only really need it in here. Add update, add command. Extract hash. Well, there is some other kind of URL type stuff. Now Elm has its own way of building URLs, but that would not allow me to have a central config file for it. So I could perhaps parse it into something like this, replace an individual item, and then rebuild it. Okay, so that's true query, not the URL path itself. That's query. Yeah. String from just a thing in there. So I could split it, replace it, and join it, or I can just do string replace. Oh, I guess the question is, how do we do this in a way that... Because the JavaScript version is pretty much, okay, here's a dictionary, replace all the things in curly brackets. A generic templating mechanism would work in a similar way. Here's a dictionary. Okay, so then we might want to parse the URL and then look for anything that starts and ends with curly brackets, and then you can look it up in the dictionary. I don't know of any way we could take a config string like that and turn it into a type-safe thing. You'd kind of have to build up, you have to do something like this, where it built up the... Or something like a JSON encoder decoder, where it built up a type of the thing that it's going to build. And then you would have to have a string that matched that. I guess you could do something like... You could do a URL parser on the input URL to guarantee it had the expected elements. and then use the, and then maybe use the pieces. But it seems like you get into a pretty complicated data type to describe. Here's some arbitrary path components. Here's some things you replace. Here's some more arbitrary path components, maybe some other bits you replace. Yeah, parser is very exact. It's not really going to do, okay, which components are the variables? Now we can replace them. So it's not going to deal with type safe for now. Okay, so that looked up. Yeah, so the query parser was doing that internally and then looking up a particular key, I think. That was to get a value out. We don't really need to get a value out. We just need to do a string replace. I could go through a dictionary and attempt to do the string replace for all of them. What is this the argument order we want? Because we are probably going to get the config URL. Well, you could look at this either as a template URL pre-configured with these parameters. So the parameter is going to be variable. We could like make a template URL function out of the thing we want to do. We're going to apply it with the parameters for this particular time. A query? No. Right, because we need to change something as we go, so this has to be a fold. I forget which one is more efficient. So you want a function applied to a value. This could almost, what does it be a curried? Fold L, helper function, list dict, string dict. I guess it'd be nice to name these. And the function is... Actually, you could just do... Here's our URL, here's replace this template value, here's replace that template value. I mean, you could map that to a dict later if you want, but we don't have to construct a dict, do we? No. So we're going to take a string. We're going to replace placeholder. No, it's a string. And then our template's going to be a string. So this is like uselessly untyped is the main problem. Oh, no, actually want this so we can run the URL through, which would actually make it map the full del format. And we need to actually adjust placeholder. Although I guess I could put the curly brackets on there just to make it a straight up replace string. String.replace. If we do put that in, then it's really just string.replace. All right, so this dot with dash in blah, which actually just makes this string.replace if we have the template format, or rather, if we have the curly braces already in there. Or we could do that. Is it plus plus? All right, so when we do a search, it'll be one of our typings, right? Update object search. Hey, we already got a function for this. And highlight objects, which might end up doing some similar things here. Although I don't necessarily want, I'm eventually going to want to, oh, is this even a, well, we want to do this if we have done any search here. Otherwise, it's just going to be an extra web request. Let's see, the grand total. The total of the searches. Model.servers. Oh, right, because that's where our object data is. Okay, so let's say we might be reusing this a little bit. Well, that's getting down to the server object. This is to get down to a maybe of the ID. That was to make it nothing if it was blank. So it's really just model.selectedServer. Although we have the get of servers, which, this depends on server and it depends on timestamp, I think. And then the other ones depend on object ID. And we want to know what the current status is for fetching this. Well, per time. Do I ever update servers? Not here. Well, okay, so it's a dict update. We've got the initial data. This would be like a list of remote datas. This is actually turning out to be the hard part. You were the wrong one. Right, we were tweaking a few things there. So we get a search list. We're too far out for that. Well, you might not even send it. We're going to have to see about that. All right, this interface is disabled, so we still have to... Of course, that was mainly for user feedback. That might be view only. Object search valid. And the text will also have to be updated. This should do nothing, basically. We have no object data here. I guess I was wondering if Elm would be involved in fetching the individual object files. Right now, all we communicate is highlighted objects. I'm probably going to need a slightly higher level commit for objects to search for, just because it's all going to end up being web requests. Now I could have it like request it and then just send a JSON value over the port. That wouldn't be too bad. It would be nice to kind of cache that at some level. Maybe we do something like this, but not exactly like this. Yeah, because we get expire called once in a while. We just keep around X number of things. We do still, and this might still work for, because chords, actually, no, we don't even have a Z. So we would just kind of have extra data. But I guess we could always pass it. We might be able to use this if, let's see, so we have the transform tile. It's not really a tile. But like all of the, well, data chords we don't need. Get data tile URL, l.util.template, and extend data chords. So we would end up processing some dummy coordinate data if we reused that. It wouldn't go into the actual URL, so it wouldn't hurt too much. I need water, though.
This is not very flat. There we go. This is better. No. Stop. Okay.
All right. I see you. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Go. I heard the pop.
What's happening? Is it working?
All right. I'm landing at the place you were.
Oh, jeez. It's still exploding. I'm sorry, but you're past rest. That means your health is still regenerating. That was a heck of a trap. I did not know that. Like, I have never actually come in here. That was crazy. I just turn around and there's nothing but like grenade markers across my screen. I'm like, oh shoot. That was not good. You blew up like half the parking lot.
Data time 0. You get used in data zoom, which we don't care about. Oh, I guess this would be just a different transform function. It's kind of like a tile index. There's parse tile index. So the index is useful to stop requesting things that don't exist. That's just kind of 404 prevention, though. Oh, and then actually it's going to be kind of a little bit like index, like an indexed object data cache. It's going to do the two-level thing of, okay, we're go in there, see if it exists. That was checking time. This will be checking ID. Can we use this thing by itself? Oh, does the object point overlay... This has a min zoom and a max zoom. So you could look at your zoom level and have two different behaviors. You're just going to assign to key place. Well, I guess even for the life points, it's all technically tiled. They're just all using the same data set. This feels probably different enough. I should just go ahead and, well... Okay, so object point overlay gets used by key placement. Wait, does object point overlay have a create tile? Key placement point and map log point. Did I like copy you to two different things and never delete the old create tile? Seems to be the case. Yeah. That should have worked, no? Oh, so time scrubbing. In search just doesn't work. Well, I mean, those are just 404s. It could because our index coverage isn't quite right. Where was I testing this? Let's see, our other little test period. Was there. It should also be available as one of the early arcs. You know, not as much missing data, but also Nothing found. Oh, because flint is too small. That's going to depend on scale. Huh. You'd think that would disappear at some point. Or did the fact that we had an error... Why aren't I seeing animation here? I'm not seeing it for you either. We don't have a period selected? Is it because I turned off base map? What the heck? So I've got config. So there's view. Model defaults. Oh. Okay, then we have that problem again. Okay, so it works. Well, stuff is definitely happening here. I think object search is pretty broken. And this is actually just out of view, I think. So that might be that I have master index there, but not maplog index there. It feels like... Oh, no. Search dash just below detail. Oh, maybe that was in OHOL base. And when we were back in time, we had that. Oh, that's too far back. No, that wasn't the activity blob. All right, so I have to do something to never add biomes. Well, that's the overlay for biomes. Base layer by time. No. We do have a... a value for that, which actually that might be actually coming from model. It's like, no, actually don't reflect that here. Okay, so that's sufficient to cut out that noise. Oh, object point. Object point overlay. Key placement point. An object. It looks like I copied that and renamed it and never got rid of this. All right, now I wanted to look at you. Okay, yeah, stuff's still there. And then they reuse the draw tile and set the options, or default options, set the options. So this could be, we could once again have a kind of object point overlay, but these mainly differ in create tile, which is differing in how we acquire data. So these would be, it'd be convenient to just have this switch internally based on zoom. We do have chords, so we have the zoom level. You'd have to do a bounds check on the data to draw it at the appropriate place. Oh, which means you have to do a bounds check on the data. If we're going to reuse the drawing part. Life point overlay? Yeah, so this is where we had to do all the stuff to develop the box. Chords.x, tile size, chords.y, point northwest, northeast, lat long, northwest, northeast. And then we had to check our locations against that. Now I could perhaps do that up front so that we're not doing it as we're drawing each one. Object point overlay, which gets used here. It would be kind of nice just to have these be separate things so you can change them without interacting with the other. It's just kind of annoying because then you have to make all those extra layers. Probably it'll be easier to develop it that way. The tile at stuff will be kind of annoying. Is this just for... Yeah, that's just... Oops. Just for identification in... if we're browsing the elements. So use that for now. It's not going to be very efficient. You have a cache which figures stuff out internally. If we reuse it, it's still going to have get tile, data time, server. No, this is going to be at some level a different kind of cache, because we're eventually going to have to get individual objects. Well, we do get all of our options, which means we get highlight objects. All right, so key placement point. So we've got you, we've got create, set object highlight options. These are going to depend on zoom. Oh, and we're making those alternates of each other, which is not quite the case here. Key placement. Object layer options, key search, key placement key. Right, key placement layer. Oh, because you use the same data, it's the same cache. Which we could serve for now. Set object highlight options. These might be want to turn to a kind of thing where we determine the data and then it's always drawn in the same layer, similar to how some of the life search stuff works. Key search key. Right, we can't actually replace this yet. We're going to need to replace that, though. So what do you need to do? So there is tile index cache. And I think we're going to end up with a two-layer thing like this. Okay, so that's all of our decoding stuff. Is that the... Okay, we need to separate that. So this is going to be a search index cache, which can mostly get by with that, maybe? Did I open this? Yes, I did. Well, I guess that's going to be the interesting spot. Do we have any header lines? No. Actually, an Elm parser might be kind of nice for this, although I'd have to re-encode it to send it back, so... This is going to make intermediate strings for everything. Okay, there is going to be no line. There is going to be a special case for line dash. And that could actually be... Oh yeah, split by line. You're going to do something. We don't care about current time. We don't really care about current object. We don't care about tile time as our result. So this is going to be object count. L split by space. There was some compaction of that. This is just going to be object count sub. These should be relatively treatable as integers. So I guess you could technically be an array. It's just going to be a sparse array. Not dot parsing. Oh, no, it's not a simple number. This might not care about the counts. That might be a Elm thing. So it might be that when we get here, we just return object count. And really, this could be Boolean, but... that is going to be our exit point most times. All right, so if that requests a tile, it's going to... oh, you need your... do you have a URL template as an argument? From this, yes. So where we do that, tile index cache, search index, although you were initialized, the other actual search index was initialized from here, which is index cache. Oh no, because you got two caches actually. Which was key index cache, which does get key index. Create arc, key placement layer, create placement point, key search overlay. So you're going to be sort of like this. I don't know if there's any options we care about here. I may have written this to require options. And you're going to get this for now. It needs further development. Okay, yes, it's very unhappy about something. Layer.cache.getTile is not a function. Okay, search index cache. A tile data cache, has a load tile, not a get tile. So actually, you might have a different get interface. Oh, is tile key a thing? Well, it does not have a parse override, does it? All right, I need a little break. I'll be back in a minute.
Wow.
But going down, you're basically flying.
What the hell? That was interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of hugging the ceiling here.
I love glasswort. It's a beautiful sight. Oh! I'm sorry for the loud sound. I have nothing to contribute. Well, we made a hoe.
From behind the tree. I kill you like a proper thing. Okay, this would work. A lot more berry bushes. No, I didn't. I just happened to be very close to where she spawned, apparently.
I'm inside the ground right now. I'm down here. This is where I am. Okay. Oh my god. How do Don't worry, guys. We're ready to go explore the planet now. Oh shit, this is all cheaty, isn't it?
Yeah. We're not worried about phrasing, Ricardo. We're just gonna skip over it. This isn't an episode of Archer. You could anything in the baking world, really, like most things. If you're perverted enough, you can turn anything into something. Anyhow, so we want to create a steamy environment and put our buns in. I quit. I quit. I'm walking away. I quit. That's it. So because I have the oven.
And we're back. Key placement key is a key placement cache. Oh boy. And key placement actually uses that. Oh, so are you what's doing the parsing of individual tile data? Cache.load tile. Okay, so you have the get tile. And tile log, and tile key. So most stuff is using get tile. We only have load tile right now. Does that have the same interface? Chords options. Chords data. Ooh, you're actually doing some stuff with that. Who are you? You're sparse tile layer. Right, because you were loading the index to the activity maps. Key search overlay, object point overlay. Right, which was used by key placement point and key search point, which we think you are going to have to be load tile for a little bit. index.png. So I copied a config line from PNG probably. No, that's ActMap. Yeah, I copied it from here. So ID, actually probably a text too. Okay, so we got a text. We got a sparse array. Okay, well that's not good. I guess it could still be an object with numeric indexes. But I want to know because we got object counts, so it did come through here. Well, we want to know and then how each of those parsed. Oh, I'm in a for each. Well, that's part of the problem. So I actually have to do a for loop if I want to exit early. Do we have in? So that could have just been something with the dash line there. Or maybe there was like a trailing new line that made the last one do something funny. I guess we can check. Just skip that. All right, and then our final result. Only 10 empty slots? Maybe 10 empty ranges? Oh, 10 empty slots and then, okay. And then 10 more empty slots. So we had text and then our return. So that gives us an index to know which other things we could potentially fetch. So the other things are that, well, the tiles were probably doing some of the natural object generation and stuff on top of the data. Oh, you're a base class. Indexed search in search data cache. So you don't necessarily have to have a tile facing interface. I would be able to do zoom truncation here, though, if I had a tile-like interface. So that might be a thing. Okay, so object counts. We don't care about data chords. We don't care about time. Oh, what are we fetching? So this was fetching a singular data. This might have to fetch all of highlight objects. I'm surprised we didn't get any errors from the one search layer here, but I guess I just didn't find stuff. Data cache, time is going to be a thing, and then this might have to do per ID. Do we have this? All right, so this was an indexed search cache, indexed tile data cache, which needed a data cache, which is basically just that with a different URL. Search index cache had a different parser, though. You were just a, I don't know if tile key works. Oh, no, you were actually tile key search. And then your file format I guess we didn't get a good current directory from that. What do we call this? This is probably like value YX. I guess I could have used custom extensions, but No, ID. ID index is the index. Output. Final placements. Yeah, so I think we're still using key value YX. Base tile set, right tiles, right. I guess it's right objects. And I did not end up using, okay, decode key value YX. Which happens in tile key right now. And that might make too many other assumptions. We do have cache.load tile. It calls this on the text. It is using coord information though to get the proper position. Then doing generation things, which maybe we may want to make those searchable. Filling in natural objects. Well, I don't remember. Did I ever go back and make natural objects searchable? Well, I was probably using the same data, so perhaps. Oh, there's in frame. So there's some provision, right, because we're possibly doing sub-slices of larger data. So that might be a thing. Could I use you with a different data fetcher? Well, it's going to try to fetch the entire thing. We potentially... And then fill in all of the objects, which we don't necessarily need. Only if we want to be searching those particular natural objects. I probably need a custom version of this. So you have your cache. But we can fetch this data once and then do it for all the tiles. Well, the cache will be going by URL, so that'll sort of work out. Except you're decoding every time, which is not good. But you need coords. You need the coords? That we're fetching. To decode it. But that's the coords we pass to here. So this does not use coords directly. Although it does use them for some of this stuff. I'm kind of wondering if I should be caching decoded values. So key placement key is the only place we use this. We only use this with key placement cache. Which is an index tile data cache. This would be an indexed log cache if it was on the log side. What is logs using? Map log cache, map log, just a tile log, which is also doing a lot of very similar stuff, but actually a bit less complicated. Oh, you've got your own. Oh, this might be the base data and the data. And you have a different decode format. That's a lot of stuff. All right, so tile key gets a key placement cache, which is an index tile data cache. You do a load tile, and you do not do any kind of decoding on that. Index tile data cache is checking to see if it exists, making sure we supply the time. So it's kind of mainly doing the sparse thing. Index tile data cache is a class by itself. So we could do something like this. Well, index tile data cache, key placement cache is only used for this right now. We could still have that function there so that it would be easier to update if we need to. I guess we wouldn't necessarily. This is index tile data cache, which is exactly the thing we're replacing elsewhere. But if this handles parsing, then the other one could also. Well, then you're still doing it in two places. But that would let me reuse the other code. Or have a function that does some of that decoding. We have to get our coordinate range because the individual tile is only going to need a piece of this. So there's two things going here. There's sort of the object index cache level, which we probably want to cache the entire thing. Oh, this might have to have a coordinate offset of 0, 0, since we're not. Since you're oh, that was purely for debugging purpose. Okay. So we would just put like, ID in there as context information. So we don't have to deal with chords. And that would be a relatively simple and that would make it a much easier thing to say, okay, this cache decodes with this filter. Or actually, that's the function we just kind of reuse now. No. So we pull key search data. And we're just going to use tile data cache. So it'd be a layer above this that would do decoding. So you should get something. Oh no, because we need some kind of layer above this. Which didn't we start to work on it? Indexed, yeah, because you have to go through a loop and then ask your lower level cache to load with data. So this would be like data.id would be the thing we're looking for. Did we determine that we had highlighted objects? We haven't run this at all yet. And we won't run it until we can stick it in somewhere. Does your key? Oh, you. Yeah, so key index cache. So that would be like just key search cache. And then key did all the data processing around it, which maybe there's still a place for that. Okay, key search data cache. Actually, do you work for this? Not a search index cache because of the way we parse the data. Or maybe you're just a straight up text. Now, index tile data search is where we get back to having a get tile function. Now, you know your load tile. There's other thing that's get tile. Because I guess the difference here was just right, because we went through probably a bunch of things there. 1753. Do we have any context information? Your index tile search. Oh, highlight objects did not get through here. Maybe it's one of the other things that had data passed down to... Oh, it would be data, for one. Keyplace.filter is not a function. Were you expected to return a data structure? Okay, still undefined. But we're getting that fine. Okay, so this is a very high level where it's like, okay, we're drawing this tile. And we might be preparing very specific stuff for that. Yeah, we're passing very, very specific things. So time matters, server matters. Arguably, this could be the thing requesting individual objects. Oh, nope. Okay, so we do have this out locally. We need to do that. And we did cut it off at 20, so it's not too bad. So we do have the information where we could do that. I need a wait for all kind of thing, though. Because somewhere in one of these loads, it's actually going to come down to like a fetch or something. Oh, you're actually about return record dot promise. Is there a tool that deals with that in the base system? Promise. I guess it's going to be a base browser promise. We're already using fetch, so probably we have similar support level. Promise.all. To be resolved or for any to be rejected, to have settled, each may resolve or reject. Resolves after all the given promises either resolved an array of objects that describes the outcome of any. Resolve the aggregating array of values. Describes the outcome. Will it accept other data? Iterable. You're just ID, right? Yeah, it used to be just ID. So if object counts then a data.id equals ID. Data cache load tile. Chords almost don't matter, but we've kind of been reusing that interface. And on an individual file basis, it's going to be just that. Where did we mess up our braces? Promise that all. So I need to know where I'm using you. It's going to be like, key search something. Key search point. So you're not just going to come back with a key place. Expected token identifier 1754. Oh, we started doing that map. Wait for it to do all of the exception expansions. Key place is not defined. We called then. Okay, and these are still raw texts. So I probably do want like the tile data style layer around this. Right, the first round was 20 things, then it became 6 things. Oh, so that was 20 arguments? No, argument 0. Maybe I forgot to save. All right, so tile data, no, tile key. Is where we have get tile. That's going to get multiple texts. This is where adding a parser function onto that might be nice. Oh, but we add the... Guess we could still pass chords down to there. Oh, the tiles were being offset by Stardex. I doubtless didn't do that for the global search. Because it's not per tile. All right, what do I need to do to give my tile data thing an optional processor? Is an indexed tile data cache, which is a tile data cache. That would mainly be for consistency, but it just seems like a better place to handle that. Load tile, transform tile. But it's already a tile data cache. Map log cache. Just a new. I guess I could assign this on a per instance basis instead of always doing class extensions. Digenta, how's it going? What are you working on these days? Uh-oh. Automod is not amused by the holidays. Ooh, yeah, I guess I'm not surprised that's a huge project. I think last time I looked in, you were doing like encoding stuff, which is a deep pit in and of itself. I'm trying to untangle all of my old code and think about reworking some things. Because I think I want to move some file format parsing up a little bit in the processing chain. Okay. So there's a hook there for transform tile. I already called this thing a tile data cache. Which it is. So what would this parse? Well, this is going to be parsing a particular format, so I guess I could name the derivative after that format. What was it? XY value XY first. Key value XY. Unicode, oh yeah, still a text stuff. Jeez. Yowza. Key value XY. You're not necessarily... Is that the right thing? Placements equal, yeah. Oh, although this function got an extra argument that's not currently going down to transform tile. Do you have chords? Yeah, you've got chords. Really, this is kind of like debug info. The way we're using it. All right, parse tile index. We think this would be decode key value XY. Except this thing gets the debug info, so then we have to do function text. All right. Any syntax errors? No syntax errors. So we were using this for you. And then index tile data cache. No, you were fine. It was tile key that was doing all the parsing. Yeah. That's the one of the projects I never quite have the attention to get to. They upgraded PHP past the WordPress install, which basically makes me want to rewrite the entire thing without any code in the way that will break over time. But getting everything format, I started doing it with Jekyll, but I have to like get templates all organized and converted and everything. And I always have other things I want to work on. WordPress was kind of okay while I was still updating it regularly, but then I kind of, well, all the regular software updates kind of got to me. So then I should be able to take you and not do this. Oh, so you're not going to be text anymore. You're going to be like raw placements. Okay, different texts. And that broke everything. Okay, well, we got something, that's for sure. Seems about right. And see, that already had key on it. Interesting. XY ID4. It shouldn't. Or, oh, maybe that map should have been more of an each. Yeah, yes, I'm modifying it in place. So that's fine. Oh, I wonder if it was an issue with if I do that once up front and cache it, then modifying data becomes a problem. Because all of these are offsetting by different... it should be a different cache key if that's the case. Tile key. So what if we just did... Unbroke all that... Oh, okay. No, it's still there. And you don't have T. That was all stuff we put in. Huh. Why does that break it? And it was actually because of what we're doing, right? Well, I mean, that was text. Like, this was actually have to be like an array. Okay, and yet you're unhappy with the empty array. Oh, text.split. Oh, we're actually returning text here. So that's nothing. If we do... I mean, well, this would be totally expected for replacing that. Or rather, blank would be totally expected. So why don't you work? We've got data. Maybe it is because we're messing with the coordinates. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we're modifying it in place. And this is getting used by like object and search layers. So parsing it is one way to create a copy of the data. Otherwise, you'd have to do, I mean, probably save a little bit of trouble, but you'd still have to go through and duplicate everything. So maybe the answer is this is copying most of the fields already? Y key Waikiki. Nope, that was not an end of line. So floor gets added. It's actually hard to say what was in there. I guess we have to go. You have to go to here and see what you're doing. So you're doing XY floor ID. Those are things we just have to copy. And we added T and key. I don't know if it would help to do these in similar order. XY ID floor. Sure. I almost want to like rename it to raw now. So this can be place. Because I need this derived value and I don't want to construct it twice. Okay, now we get the object data. And some of the parsing work can be reused between different things. This thing, it's a tile key. It doesn't necessarily have a caching layer. So I might want to watch just how often I'm regenerating this. Yeah, so we're doing all of them twice. It might not be bad to have another caching layer here. But that sets this up Well, it sets me up so that the key search data cache was just a tile data cache. What did we do? We added a tile key XY, which actually, this is a key XY at its lowest level. And where do we reserve that? This is a different object. Yes, we have to do different stuff down here. So our data cache should give us parsed data. It's still going to be an array of data because we're doing promise all here. So maybe I can do a then off of this to handle that stuff. Array 20, array 6. I might still have this my print in my other place, which is key search. Key point overlay was the other one? Point overlay, key placement point, key search point overlay. Key search point. Which is printing what it's getting, which we eventually want to be different. Index search. So you're just going to be, we're basically just going to be a does that work? No, it's still array 6 all the way through. Maybe is there a flatten? New array with all subarrays in the existing array. Well, that's just results. Okay, so that is one giant array. Key search point. Placement.id. All right, so what are we currently getting here? You do have IDs. You do have X's and Y's. Maybe it's counting on some of the other derivative information. Object point overlay, I think, as our draw tile. We are counting on placement to have an ID, an X, and a Y. Oh, you know what? This should be in range. I think I do need to change key search. Key search point does not actually have default range parameters. Maybe I remove those. Does that mean it has nothing? Key placement point doesn't specify it. One of these has to specify a zoom range. Unless that was not the data layer. And it just got nothing at high zoom. All right, so key search point. You get this. That's this.key place. Doesn't seem to be filtered down. All right, and I don't really, because I don't really need the other one. Key search. Probably one of the only uses of flat. So why does that not draw anything? Interestingly enough, I'm not... Oh. It's like something drew. Oh. Maybe I have messed up my object data here. Let's get rid of that print. Because that could throw things off. Okay, yeah, it is messing with something here. I don't know if it's messing with the data. Something about that caching adjustment. Or was it just because I added an extra layer? It's not even key placement, it's tile key. Okay, I did sort of leave this here. Using a separate object wouldn't really hurt this. But you have to go back to text. So tile key was using this thing. Okay, that was somehow incompatible. Well, I guess the search interface would... okay, so it's not you. That's probably tile key. Yeah, your raw placements. No, don't search. The other thing we should be bothered by. Okay, so how do you... Okay, you... That's the correct zoom level for that. We can go in, we can go out. Not surprising we need to fetch some extra stuff. But then we should all be cached. Mostly. Well, actually, this is all images. Yeah, this could be easily within one tile. So why is that okay? I wonder if something is relying on, let's see, if it's tile coordinate stuff, you only use this for debug info, right? Oh, maybe you're using no, because it would show up in the call if it was using it in a sub function. Am I still overwriting the data somewhere? So it's a brand new object. Only reference it there. Oh, maybe something else is processing the cache. Because we use tile key in... There's key data, which goes into key placement. Which goes into key placement key, which is used by that layer. Oh, and it's used also by maplog. Decode log values. Okay, so we actually have done a premise all before. Oh, so you weren't necessarily counting on this to be... Well, this was a tile log. That's only the detailed placement data. Oh, we shouldn't be, we're using this in our search also. Key placement sprite, but that's using the top level object, which is the result of tile key. I guess that all, I mean, tile key should always be making a new array set. Is it because we added an extra promise layer and that changed the timing? Is there another way for it to return nothing? So there's an extra promise then here. There is, no, it's not here. No, I'm thinking of the flatten from the other search thing we're doing. Which, is it doing something naughty? Oh, this is tile log, which is a different process. The only thing that did direct decoding of it. If it was reusing this object, we would have seen the effects of that before. Was something expecting this to be a text? Like in the cache layer or something? The other one did do some data processing. That's doing URL-based caching, and there's a text. There is transform tile of response.text is a promise that resolves to that. I'm not forgetting an argument here, am I? No, you're just text. Tile data cache does check for time 0. We pretty much looped back at this point. If it exists, index URL. That's load tile. Oh, moving it up so we can do expiring by simple length. Do you do... Yeah, you don't use chords, so you can't really do any truncation. Kind of feels like we have to be operating on the same data somewhere. It's like the newly rendered ones are okay. So zoom in, we're kind of reusing the data. What? Wait. Oh, yeah, I guess in the coordinates of a lower level tile, that might be right. Okay, so we got those two. We didn't get these, it looks like. Got that tile, got that tile. What? It's almost like we're not even getting the right data. Yeah, that feels... like we're doing the wrong cut. So maybe it's a positioning error? We did rewrite this a little bit. Oh. This is probably it. All right, we're off a little bit. Okay, so... and that was perfectly legal syntax. Guess that only affected tile key. Oh, what state did I leave this in? Decode, key value, XY. It's like I really shouldn't need to do that again. Okay, so you're there. I don't even know if I've defined ranges in my new layer yet. Key search, point overlay. Which we're kind of getting down to an almost useful data set now. We probably have both layers on, so you can't really tell. And that's the point where the old one wouldn't have worked. This could really use to be bounded. Oh, are you expecting relative coordinates? Maybe you're expecting relative coordinates. And that's one of the things that the old tile log did, or tile key did, was actually take them from global to relative coordinates. Or, oh, did I turn this off to see it was interfering? key search point. So that should be adding there. You're a filter. Oh, that's it. Oh, okay. I am still applying the other range limits to you. So where am I doing that? Tile data cache. Oh, I probably am reusing tile data caches, aren't we? Tile index cache, tile key value data cache, search index cache. Search index doesn't matter. Search data cache. No, you're just a class. You're indexed, which has a search data cache. Is that where this stuff would go? I forget which min and max is. Okay, so that's the smaller one. And you should really pick up there. Okay, we're back in, we're back in. Okay, tile key value XY is a tile data cache. The options might not be going to quite the right place. Now this is only affecting data zoom, which is just really just constraining which Z we use, which doesn't matter. That's the sparse tile layer. Are we making requests for it? There's an index for activity map. Problem is there's so many... Well, we shouldn't be doing any objects here, right? That fetched for nothing. I guess maybe it could have fetched the index in advance of that. Could you stop previewing, please? AM. 17 seed spans are all kind of upfront stuff. Yeah, I'm not seeing any fetch on there. So key search point. Okay, yeah. Maybe I have another zoom setup somewhere that's affecting us. Maybe I have a super layer of all of this stuff that has limits on it. Object overlay layers. Okay, so you're something else, but I think you're affecting what we do with object overlay. Here's to layer group. Unless I'm doing some predetermination of zooms here. Data animated, target span. Are we getting... Okay, so we are getting these things to load at that zoom. So there's something going on here. Am I maybe not sending highlight objects? Is this a command thing? Okay, so, well... Do we never send the list? Nope, there's your highlight objects. We send the list. Is it something else? Highlight objects and then array. So this is definitely a leaflet thing. Layer group, new key search point. Object layer options? Not here. I guess what, maybe I should ask what my total options are. Option. Okay, that was a message. Show natural objects. Got all the generation stuff, which I don't know if we'll need. No indication of zoom limits. All right, so we were putting, let's see, so that is data. We kind of got too much data. We know when it comes in. What we really just need to know is, did we, well, there's highlight objects and there's done. Did we even call this? We don't think commands are it. Okay, so something stopped us there. I keep forgetting to use my marks. Oh, do we have highlighted objects? No, you're included in that. Wait. We're also drawing. Maybe this doesn't work. Oh. Why does this only work at certain zooms? Well, 24 used to work. Maybe my zoom level was wrong. Oh, because 26 worked. I was in too close. Okay, yeah, we're not even drawing this. So somehow we've set... So there's map. Activity map zoom. Biome image layer. Screenshot image layer. Fractal layer. Biome layer. Object point. Is this a kind of object? Yes, it is. So we have to overwrite it here. That's why I went searching for this. I forgot about this superclass, I guess. So you're going to be more like 2 to 23. Raw placements.map is not a function. Okay, so this... Oh, this is key placement point. We need the other one, map log point, key search point. Okay, so we called out to it. Did we get here? Yeah, we got there. Did we get data? Yeah, we got data. This could come down to the question of, was I making it relative chords? What is draw tile doing? You're not necessarily doing... doing any coordinate offset stuff. So I was counting on the tile log layer to offset the coordinates for me. Among many other things. Tile log. Not tile log, tile key. Yeah, so that's all that coordinate translation, which is at here where we know the coordinates, we're doing some annotations. Checking for some tiles. Checking for some invalid data. Checking for the framing of this thing. Maybe searching natural objects would be nice, which actually did work because we built on top of this before. But this is going to be before we got all of the data and then we filtered down to the highlighted objects. And it only highlighted those IDs. Because actually we might still be kind of redundantly doing that. This would only work with explicit placements right now. But yeah, that would mean running generation, which you don't want to run generation at this zoom level. That's kind of performance disaster. So we definitely can't just use this. I might have to copy a lot of it. We're doing cache load tile, and then this is almost like itself, like it's the processing step. From the data cache. Like if I just had that transform tile, you also take generation, which we don't need generation. And I'm thinking about it, that actually does make really... There might be some display options that I have in that generation thing, but generation would make sense here. Additional data coordinates, which you actually don't need for this precisely. We need to do the coordinate offset. And this does the subsliceling. And I think I end up reusing... Yes, we get the start and the end and some of the padding stuff, which gets all... Oh, so this actually translates the coordinates and then uses the padding to trim for the overage objects. So there's two levels here. There's offset and there's trim, all of which uses these local variables. I might actually need to do a duplicate of this and then see what it looks like. It's for in terms of extracting things out. Okay, so there's tile key, there's tile log. So we've already got a thing that gets us some kind of placements. We wouldn't technically need generation here, I don't think. What do you use it for? No, it's got it's all the other options, so it's tile size. We're not tracking this. We're not. We were setting that in this data, which don't. Generation. Generation. We've already done the URL stuff. Coordinates of this tile. Offset the coordinates. I don't think I need the key here because it was all for that occupied stuff. Special, maybe. In size, I don't think we would need. Natural objects. So we're not going to have any of this. This is just going to be... This actually was making essentially a copy of it, I guess. But placements.filter. If it has an ID... Oh, we could actually be running into... Wait a minute, that's 50,000. In frame could be a thing. Oh, type is floor. which nothing's going to be marked as floor here. I guess my parser might be spitting that out as false. All right, so tile. Do we have tile? It's a search data cache. All right, so we've got tile key, which was based on key placement cache, which will be key search data cache. I think we determined we should not need these here because that was only used for transformation of that stuff. And then you... Wait. No, this is the thing we just added. So we were using this. This becomes the index and the raw. That uses the raw data to convert that. All right, that's key placement key. So it comes from key search key. And then key search cache is a new thing. No, we changed this already. Right, and it changed in search point. Was this where I had... Yeah, this is where I had this. To now be get tile. Oh, no, we did have options before tile size. And then we're into a different thing. Layer.cache.getTile is not a function. No, index search cache. Oh, it was a load. Wait, but you're calling... What was get tile? It was on tile key. What calls that? Get tile. Wait, so you should be the outer wrapper. Unless indexed. No, you go into key placement. Maybe you had two thing key placement key. Right. Key search cache, key search. Oh, so this used to be our final thing. Oh, and that's still a tile key. I guess this is where I was getting myself confused. Is it tile search? Yeah, I don't know if that name will hold up. The data cache, this is this on key search key, which was just the wrong type. No. That should have been the wrong data, but the right type. Key placement cache. Key placement key. Oh, are we actually back to here? Yeah, key index, cache, action map, tile index, tile key value. And then the key placement key data cache. Wait, no, this is here. Key search key is on key data. Key search data, and then key search key is the tile search of key search cache. No, and then key search key might not be the right term for this. I could probably use a revisit of naming conventions across this entire app. Oh my gosh. It's all the font on the map. This is only static image. We're gonna have to redo this with some of the all the map log stuff and figure out how we want to display all of that. It might already be, well, I still have to do all the data processing. I wanted to check my data formats, and actually there's some specific, ooh, you are not, you're something else. We were doing trucks, not towers. Yeah, that matches up. And then I have to get the front end counts into count and is available in information to here. So you have feedback about if you try to search for actually specifically a horizontal Adobe wall, but like all the Adobe walls are going to be not there. Oh, cracking Adobe wall. I guess plaster didn't make it, or maybe it just didn't make it into the search index. Oh, it's a kind of Adobe wall. No, it's in there under something. Plaster wall, not Adobe wall. So those might show up. High-level road view. We don't have the actual roads, unfortunately. So for the things we're searching for, let's see, what was, that's actually, well, actually, no, empty bowls probably got cut. Well, I need to have some limits on that too. That's going to be like a whole bunch of objects. Probably need to have a hard limit on doing this. And some of these are going to be very, very, very large indexes as well. I'm not sure. It's like if I had the current moment, we could look up the apocalypses. All right, you're the noisy one. mean, what might be more interesting is to get into one of these tile caches. Well, I'm reusing several objects. The particular point of interest would be, which is a standard tile data cache, so I don't have an easy way to log that. Well, indexed search cache would still handle when we requested it, right? But it's not going to handle when it was not in the cache. To do that, we'd have to get this for all of the things that are doing this. Which yourself, it's a tile data cache. So, well, I guess we can check when we. It's still gonna. The promise will be resolved. And, oh, we're still gonna do this every time we request. No, because it'll all be a promise. Maybe it'll be okay. So when we get a cache miss, oh, that was all one activity map, huh? Okay, well, yeah, there's all the key search IDs. And then we got close enough for key placement. Oh, I guess there's the, I guess it's actually a cart? There's a lot of carts, unfortunately. Horse-drawn, like, yeah. Oh, and all the variants thereof. How much the useful ones are... Oh, right, because we have all the escaped ones. So that might be less useful. And of course we got dark colors. And activity maps. So you see the ones that were dropped out here. Oop. This... Raw placements.map. 1961. Right, so if it was just a, if we had a fail go into there. This might actually be from our newer... No? Well, shoot. Oh, there it is. So there was an empty string that went through here. I had done some things where some caches would fail over to empty string. And then I guess that was the use of having that be the universal cache type. Because we could actually process this on empty. Yeah, load tile, like if time equals 0... Well, you're at least doing a transform. You're not doing a transform. So that's a minor leak. load tile from an indexed tile data cache. Which used to be fine. And the nice thing about knowing that we're always returning text is that we actually had a value we could substitute here. Index tile search cache. Well, these are tile data. We do know that we're trying to return things here. Now that we're doing a transform. But, I mean, maybe it could be an object? Well, I don't know exactly which thing was misbehaving here. Yes, there's all the different. I probably need to cut. I need to cut out the interactive part of this because we're getting a lot of intermediate objects that we don't really care about. Although it's holding up surprisingly well, at least on my local computer. Oh, these are actually show up better in dark. Or I need to. I never had to deal with very, very small things before. Huh. And we're always in a very close-in view. So I might have to tweak the sizing of that to show it better at distant views. I guess another common one would be, well, there's, and that works. Yeah, now we've got a different color problem. Just making it larger would help. Maybe more out in currently occupied areas. Or at least then currently occupied. All right, well, that was a nice little trial. All right, so we added to tile data cache a verbose thing. Oh, there's console log URL. But I did this one, I only wanted to do it on cache miss. Yeah, activity mode is actually kind of getting in the way of this. All right, so server search indexes. We need to front end load index display counts and available. We have to do load timed logs, how to display. Do we show everything? Do we tie it to the time counter? We have to figure out. You might want a way to select only one at a time. When to load items. Should we not load items during interactive search? When do we lock that in? Does this mean we have a way to jump to instances? You know, for a truck or oil, maybe you just want to have a way to page through. That would be a whole new tab in here. I guess maybe we could do something with this. Like detailed locations and times in the time view. Then there's high-level things we can do, like Default map position. Calling out special layers for key objects. And we've already kind of got bells, but maybe towers in progress, apocalypse. Oh, and layer and cache object naming schemes. I mean, that kind of goes into the optimization and cleanup category, but code quality. Oh, and object point display size at far zoom. Because normally, if we're out this far, we're dealing with like I kind of side this around like lives, for instance. You tend to get very dense data. These still just keep on getting smaller. So I might need to adjust that curve. And I think part of the reason I did that versus a constant size is that the constant size then gets really small at this level. And we're always viewing these close in before. Oh, other fun one. Well, it's a whole collection of objects. Maybe collapse if it's of somewhat interest. And once again, point size. These should all, well, on intersections when you get down here. And once you're down, actually, once you're down to that level, you can kind of find them anyway. But yeah, so point sizes need. I mean, that is a separate layer. It could have a different scaling scheme, or maybe a scaling modifier or something. Anyway, let's see. So this is saved. We still have some work in progress stuff right now, but this is a work in progress. Feature. Have not even processed data for almost all times. Oh, we might specifically want to look at shared code with tile key and tile search. You said we wanted to see it before we really got into that. How much was actually shared or not. I started doing stuff in Elm that we never followed through with. We are in a compiling state. Static search working. Pretty much all JS level. And then it's time for lunch. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Jinta for bringing friends. Thanks to all the subscribers, voluntary and otherwise. Let me see. There's somebody working on failing to get their website running. I'm like always failing to get mine running. That's when I'm usually on. So yeah, I got way caught up in that. Oopsie. Good thing I don't need to do grocery shopping this week. Just gonna be a late lunch. There's some JavaScript game dev. That's that might actually be a little bit closer. I guess TJ was doing like really low level stuff. I don't know if it's gonna be game design or game UI or what. Look for someplace cool to hang out. Dronosaur is working on his. It's a simple bubble clicking web game, but he's always adding and refining and doing new game modes and stuff. If you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.